Today, we take a look at the flood that left hundreds of residents in Manhattan without a home, and the fire that left K-State students without a library. And later, we'll take a look at a rock climber's challenge to himself and other climbers. That and more coming up on MHK All Day. Welcome to our first MHK All Day broadcast of the semester. I'm Colby Miller. It's been 1 week since the flood that displaced hundreds out of their homes hit Manhattan. Reporter Dylan Lears takes a look back at the flood and what made it so extreme.
Residents on the west side of Manhattan woke up to water from Wildcat Creek invading their homes and businesses, all part of an extreme flooding event on the Labor Day holiday nearly 2 weeks ago. Hours of heavy rain fell north of and in part of the Manhattan city limits, flowing downstream and causing the Wildcat Creek to breach its banks and rise to a record level of 24 feet, nearly 10 feet above flood stage.
Just instincts kick in, man. You just got to do what you got to do. You got to get the baby out. Just got to grab my son and get out of there.
Mandatory evacuations were put out for areas along the creek, urging residents from the rural Riley County town of Keats all the way down into Manhattan that water was rising. According to the Manhattan Fire Department, 152 people were rescued along with 24 pets, and overall approximately 300 people were displaced due to flooding in Manhattan. As fast as the flooding appeared, also came an abundance of individuals and organizations offering to help those affected by the flooding. Kansas State University offered assistance to students affected, while shelters were being established and put together.
This instance, we got a call from the county emergency manager to let us know that there was potential flooding and they were going to start evacuating homes. And so as they were bringing people out of homes and apartments, this is where they came. It's become a permanent resident during the disaster for people who are displaced because of the storm. Also had a lot of students reach out, student organizations that are willing to volunteer and help if we need it, and so we really appreciate that as well.
The water has subsided greatly 10 days after the flood, and Wildcat Creek is now well within its banks. It will take some time for the trees and vegetation to grow back, much of which was either knocked down or taken away by floodwaters. Work is underway at removing large debris, including cars, as well as repairing businesses that were submerged. The Redbud Estates mobile home park also received damage to many of the bottoms of the mobile homes next to the creek. The storm system responsible for the flooding had ample moisture to work with. Mary Knapp, a climatologist at K-State, said that this system was unique.
Basically, it was a stalled out front that allowed the rains to continue over a certain area for an extended period of time. It is a fairly rare event in the amounts. The rains that fell in Manhattan weren't what contributed to the flooding so much as the rains in the headwaters of that Wildcat Creek area. Part of it was the rainfall rate intensity, and again, for that highest rainfall spot, we only have daily totals. We don't have the finer detail. But at our automated weather stations, we've got 3 of them here in Riley County. The highest rainfall rate was over 2.5 inches in an hour. So again, when you get that coming down, that's going to really contribute to the flooding.
Unfortunately, this is not the first time those along Wildcat Creek have experienced significant flooding.
What's interesting is that there was a similar flood event in May of 2007. In that particular event, when you look at the average of rain reported across the area, it was actually higher than what we saw with the rainfall reports in the latest one, but there were no reporting gauges in the northern part of the county.
Early indications point to an increase in construction throughout the floodplain that has exaggerated recent events, with the most recent exceeding levels greater than a predicted 100-year flood.
There's a whole lot more infrastructure along that area than there was even in 2007, and that's going to have 2 issues. One, That's going to mean that there's less land area to absorb the rain, but it also will mean that there's going to be more structures in the flood pathway, so that there's a greater likelihood that the damages will be higher simply because there's more to be damaged.
With the number of occurrences the Wildcat Creek poses for flooding increases, it only feels imminent that the water may rise again. In Manhattan, Dylan Lears, MHK All Day.
The flood wasn't the only thing causing damage around Manhattan. One of the largest buildings on the K-State campus is closed for the school year. What exactly happened to Hale Library and what's to come? MHK All Day reporter Isabel Lobby has more.
On May 22nd at 4 p.m., a fire broke out at Hale Library, which resulted in the building being closed for the school year. The fire was located on the roof of the oldest part of the building, the historic Hale Library. Everyone safely evacuated the building as the Manhattan Fire Department arrived at the scene. Firefighters worked until around 9 p.m. to extinguish the flames, according to Ryan Elms, Deputy Fire Chief at Manhattan Fire Department.
So we found the fire in about probably 30 minutes after arrival. We knew where it was at and started the process of cutting open the roof. But at that point, we were also trying to see if we could gain access from the underside as well. And so the period of actually extinguishing the fire in that location lasted for about 5 hours. So, and then there was work to be done in terms of getting all the smoke out of the building and trying to save what we could in the building, and that's the reason we were there for that long a period.
The cause of the fire was due to welding tools construction workers were using on the roof to repair leaks. Fort Riley, Riley County, Blue Township, and Gary County fire departments all assisted in this operation.
Well, it was very labor intensive. It was a 90-degree day, and having all of our crews do that work, take all that equipment up there, and then work to extinguish the fire up on that roof. And they were cutting holes the whole time. It was very difficult work.
The northwest section of the library, built in 1927, sustained the most damage. However, the entire building, excluding the 5th floor, suffered smoke and water damage. Mike Haddock, Associate Dean for Research and Engagement at Hale, said that Hale is built on a slight slope which caused water to flow into the eastern sections of the library.
Worst of the water was like up here on the 4th floor or on the 2nd floor, but it all came through the ceilings on every floor and then went to the east.
Haddock said about 400,000 to 600,000 gallons of water were pumped into Hale to extinguish the flames. The road to recovery for Hale is a lengthy process. Over 1.5 million volumes of books had to be removed from Hale. Out of those volumes, Haddock estimates that only 3,500 to 4,000 books were lost due to extreme damage.
Everything's out except we're partway through special collections. Special collections didn't get damaged by the smoke or the fire, but because the building sat all summer with no electrical power except outside generators, they didn't have the air conditioning, and so we came to the conclusion it's a lot safer to take everything out before it gets moldy.
Haddock said that the property restoration company Belfour is in the process of stripping Hale's walls, ceiling tiles, removing the furniture, and cleaning the building with chemicals. Once this process is complete, then the rebuilding phase can begin. Lori Gitch, Dean of Hale Library, said that it is important to preserve the history of Hale while also looking towards the future during the rebuilding process.
In terms of renovation, we're approaching it kind of in a two-pronged way. One is to preserve the history of the building, particularly the 1927 historic Hale Library, while at the same time creating a new Hale Library for students, both students who are here right now and students that we anticipate coming in the future who will have different needs for technology and library materials and will use our space differently.
It is estimated that roughly 30,000 students each week would walk in and out of the doors at Hale. Now, students have to find an alternative location to study. To accommodate to this loss of study space, K-State has set up group and silent study locations around campus. These locations can be viewed on an interactive map at kstate.edu/Hale. Getch said that 80% of Hale's resources can be accessed online.
We have set up a library help desk in the K-State Union. That's the place to go to get books that are put on reserve by your professor, to get help with printing and scanning. There's a printer scanner there to get questions answered for your research papers, to get directions on campus, all the same services that our help desk would have responded to in Hale.
After the disaster, Haddock has hopes for a better Hale.
Not by choice, but we have the opportunity now that we're going to renovate the entire building. And it would have things like a large maker space with 3D printers and virtual reality, but it's a process. It's going to take time.
Faculty said they're aiming to reopen the first floor of Hale by fall 2019 and the remaining floors by fall of 2020. For MHK All Day, I'm Isabel Lobby.
For more information on the rebuilding process and how you can access library resources, visit www.k-state.edu/Hale. Coming up after the break, we'll take a look at the Manhattan Mall and their efforts to bring in more customers. Stay tuned.
Knowledge is more than a piece of paper. It's being committed to leaving the world a better place, dedicated to limitless learning, conducting research that is tried and true, and then tried again, crossing disciplines, blazing trails, discovering better methods that lead to global solutions. What is the K-State graduate student experience? Unrestricted, proven, you. The heart-pounding roar, a sea of purple, wielding twists and turns, a sincere smile, a simple phrase. Legacies that span generations, blurring the line between fans and family. Believing we bleed a different color. Foundations defined by a single stone. That special place you love full well. What makes traditions unforgettable? Loyalty. Purple. You. The K-State fabric is woven with a commitment to service, a common thread of experience and expertise, research that makes ambition a reality, student opportunities that foster empowered leaders, an environment that embraces creative collaboration. We look for moments to define ourselves as trailblazers and as advocates for advancement. Why does K-State believe it can achieve a stronger tomorrow? Promise, possibility, you. Outreach is more than a goal. It's our land-grant mission. We feed and sustain an expanding population and cultivate strong, stable families, growing responsibility and leadership in our youth through a far-reaching network of research, resources, and educators. Whether you're in Kansas or across the globe, every life is worthy of an extended hand. What makes K-State Research and Extension so powerful? Purpose, outreach, you.
Manhattan Town Center has some exciting changes on the way. They are set to undergo some renovations in the near future. While the common areas of the mall will get makeovers, some stories within hope any new changes will bring more customers. We go live now with Dallas at the Manhattan Town Center to talk to a few frequent mall visitors.
Good morning. I'm here at Manhattan Town Center with my friend Jeff Sutton, the marketing manager up here. Jeff, how's your morning going?
It's great. Going great at the mall.
Going great at the mall. Perfect. All right, Jeff, so what kind of events you got going up this weekend or at all up here at the Manhattan Town Center that you could tell us our folks about?
So the mall is the front door to the community here in Manhattan, and we take pride in a lot of the events. Next weekend, we'll have our sidewalk sale for the fall, closing up the summer season and headed into the fall. And then later in October, we'll have the USO No-Do dinner and do a free military dinner for everyone that's, family or direct family in the military.
Wonderful, Jeff, wonderful. So we kind of come here to talk about the renovations of the mall. As you know, we mentioned that before. What kind of renovations do we have coming to the mall? And when can we be expecting them, and what can you tell our people about that?
Manhattan Town Center's been here for 31 years, and we're looking at the long term in the next 30 years and beyond. So we're going to be renovating some common areas of the mall, but it's going to take 22 years for us to get some of those projects done. We're looking at common area improvements, things that benefit the shoppers, everything from flooring to paint to the, even the roof. So looking at those things, they take a lot of time and a lot of money, so it's going to be over many years to come.
Okay, gotcha. So did you guys get feedback from the people for that kind of stuff, or is this something that you guys as a team decided that was necessary?
This summer we held focus group sessions with the community and listened to what they wanted and what they liked, and heard their concerns. So we definitely listen to the community and are taking their input going forward.
Absolutely. Any other updates at the mall? I noticed you guys got a couple stores coming up, right?
So Go Calendar opened yesterday. Spirit Halloween is open. We've got more holiday tenants coming as we head into the holiday season.
Wonderful. Thanks, Jeff. I appreciate your time.
All right, thank you.
Hello. This is Jane here. She is the owner of Mrs. Powell's Delicious Cinnamon Rolls. Contrary to popular belief, her last name is not Powell.
It is not.
All right, Jane, how are you doing this morning?
I'm good. How about you?
Doing great. How's business?
Good.
Wonderful.
It's great.
Perfect. Did you guys have your regulars here today?
We have all our regulars every day. They come in like clockwork.
It's a shame they're camera shy.
I know. They run every time there's a camera.
All right, Jane. So you know about the renovations going on. We kind of mentioned that yesterday. What would you like to see from the renovations here at the mall?
I'd like to see a lot of just different things that the people would like to have and come and do. Some of the things, it's hard to say what there is out there, but I think if they search around, they can find fun things for that are in the mall. There's a lot of neat stores out there that I think would come into the mall as soon as they can tell them that it's going to be brand new. No bakeries, though.
No more bakeries, no competition. All right, Jane, tell them how long you've been here at Manhattan Town Center.
I've been in the mall 30 years plus 3 months. We had our luau on the 30th of June to celebrate, and we're still here running strong.
Sounds wonderful. And that's just to make sure you've been here for how long?
30 years.
Okay. Alrighty. Okay. How has business changed? What have you noticed? Well, I guess the big difference here is the movie theater. How has business changed since the movie theater got here?
The movie theater has offered a lot of unique people that come through. I don't know that they shop every time they come, but the more they come to the movie theater, the more chances that they're going to stop and shop because they're here anyway. Absolutely. So we see a lot of people buy cinnamon rolls either before or after. They take them home or they sit down and have a treat before.
Holiday season is coming up. You got a bunch of business, right?
We have a great holiday season. Every year we sell delicious Christmas wreaths that people take home for their family tradition every Sunday morning or every Christmas morning. They're on their table. So
excellent. Can we expect any changes to Mrs. Powell's anytime soon?
I'm not going to tell you that. Come find
Of course not. Of course not. What about any new treats coming out that we need to know about?
We're having an Oktoberfest in October. We're going to have beer ox and all kinds of fun things. We'll be celebrating.
Sounds excellent, Jane. Hey, I appreciate you talking to me.
Thank you.
I'm reporting live for MHK All Day. My name is Dallas Coronado. Thank you very much.
When we come back, we have an inside look at a K-State rock climber's final climbing challenge.
Outreach is more than a goal. It's our land-grant mission. We feed and sustain an expanding population and cultivate strong, stable families, growing responsibility and leadership in our youth through a far-reaching network of research, resources, and educators. Whether you're in Kansas or across the globe, every life is worthy of an extended hand. What makes K-State Research and Extension so powerful? Purpose, outreach, you. We are groundbreaking educators, laser-focused on inspiring students and sparking solutions. We are dedicated professionals, keeping campus safe, accessible, and inviting. We have big responsibilities, entrusted with serving our community and world. We are Kansas State University faculty and staff, and we have many titles, but one vision: always put family first. What turns profession into passion? Selflessness, integrity, you. Open doors, warm hellos, classes spark ideas, traditions create memories, labs lead to partners, late nights, crazy nights. Hale, Hale, Hale? Studying hard, hardly studying. One last Manhattan sunset, caps and gowns, pomp and circumstance. We're on this journey together, remembering that every open door can lead to a warm hello. What is the K-State experience? Family, pride, you. The limestone embedded in our history is the foundation of who we have become and what we can become tomorrow. We find inspiration in the past, new possibilities in our present, and anticipation for tomorrow's journey. Yesterday's triumphs are today's proud traditions, a transformation where a hall becomes a home, students become family, and research becomes reality. How do we build upon K-State's strong foundation? Innovation, collaboration, you.
K-State climber Marcus Josephowitz has set his last route on the KSU rock wall. Marcus was kind enough to share his rock climbing story with me. Take a look.
My name is Marcus Josephowitz. The route I set is called Untitled Finale. It was kind of my last project working for the rock wall that I was doing over the summer. I just wanted to set a really nice route, something that could really challenge everyone that was at the rock wall. I first got started with rock climbing when I was 6 years old. My dad took me out to Colorado and he just threw a rope up on this Estes Park climbing area that we went to. I was trying to decide on what I could name for my last route at K-State, and I just could not think of a title. Why not Untitled Finale? I thought it might be a good kind of going away present for the wall, one last challenge from me. Probably the first hard move is you're moving off a small, tiny little crimp and a pretty big sloper. And the crimp is just something that you can only get like 2 fingers on, and sloper is like, it has no surface whatsoever. It's like trying to hold a bowling ball without using the holes. So you're off these 2 terrible holds and you have to throw your entire arm's length up and catch a gray sloper again. And it is just the worst thing in the world. You have to pull down so hard on it just to stick. It's so very hard. I liked climbing a lot because it was not only like a physical challenge for me, but it's a mental one too. We've had a lot of people come in that are just trying to figure out, hey, how do I get up the top of this wall without absolutely losing my mind? A lot of people will compare climbing to skydiving, just because you have to be crazy to do it. I think rock climbing is a lot like running, because running you're just really trying to push yourself as far as you can go. And the same is true for rock climbing. Some people will try and climb gigantic rock faces thousands of feet high. Some people will just go for a lot of shorter boulders that are a lot harder. It's all about kind of finding your challenge and finding what you like about it. Probably the part that made me stick around for rock climbing was the people that I met. There's a lot of interesting characters you'll meet at the wall. Some people are just going in there once a week, you'll see them occasionally. Some people you see every day climbing. I made a lot of friends though, and I suppose that's what kept bringing me back.
Well, when I got here, Marcus was way better than me. Now I'm finally caught up. It's really the way it's got. Still better, but it's a smaller gap.
Smaller gap, yeah.
Yeah, it's really. Marcus is just sets too hard, and I have to keep pushing myself to keep up with it.
If you're in here working on a hard route, maybe you don't know exactly what to do, you could pretty much ask anybody and they might say, hey, it looks like your right foot's slipping off a lot. Maybe you should try and stand up on that more, or hey, you want to come train with me later? People are really tight-knit with trying to get better and really improve at rock climbing.
After falling in love with it, realizing how many other aspects there are into it, whether it be like core and balance, and just using your vision and using feel and your fingertips and just understanding, being in tune with just even the very ends of your hands was really amazing to me. It can get frustrating being up there on the wall, you're alone. You know, you're not completing holds, you're slipping somewhere, you just can't get past a certain point. And it kind of drains you after a little bit. Like, you feel like you just can't do it. And the fact that you just stay with it, keep working at it. Like, I've been actually working on a route that's taken me a whole month and I still haven't completed it. I might not get anywhere. Like, I might get a little bit better, I might get somewhere. But it's just that constant keeping you going, keeping you, giving you something to work towards, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. So actually Marcus is probably the best climber here at the wall, no doubt. And he set that route. But I watched Marcus absolutely tear that route apart, and it's amazing watching him climb it. It's very technical, a lot of weird moves, and he makes it look like poetry in motion. It's hard to touch that route. It's really, really phenomenal.
And probably the last move that really gets everybody is you're on these tiny crimps again. And then you have to get your left foot up to where your chest was about, stand up off a terrible crimp, off to another terrible crimp, and then finally, if you can get your left hand up again, you'll finally land on a pretty nice jug to be able to pull up to the finish.
Thank you to Marcus and the other climbers for sharing their passion. Stick around, MHK All Day will be back right after this short break.
Know a spot that I love full well.
'Tis not in forest, nor yet in dell. Ever it holds me with magic spell.
I think of thee, alma mater.
Carry thy banner high, long, long. May thy colors fly.
Loyal to thee, thy children will swell the cry. Hail, 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 alma mater.
Knowledge is more than a piece of paper. It's being committed to leaving the world a better place, dedicated to limitless learning. Conducting research that is tried and true, and then tried again. Crossing disciplines, blazing trails, discovering better methods that lead to global solutions. What is the K-State graduate student experience? Unrestricted, proven, you.
Hi, I'm Tunde from Lagos, Nigeria.
And I'm Ronnie from Spring Hill, Kansas.
During festivals, I wear my kaftan.
On K-State game days, I wear purple and a foam finger.
I've never been to an American football game.
I've never been out of this country. You want to go tailgating this weekend?
Sure.
Become an international buddy today and develop new friendships and experience different cultures.
Would you happen to have a purple kaftan?
Only for game days.
Be sure to tune into our next show for an update on Hale Renovations and a behind-the-scenes look at intramural sports. That's all we have for you today. Thank you for joining us on this edition of MHK All Day. I'm Colby Miller. Have a great day.
This is Channel 8 News.